Hi, class. This is the first lecture. My name is Faisal Bachara. I'll be your professor for HRMS uh, or Human Resource Management course for the next semester, for this semester. And I hope you will be enjoying the course with me. And just for uh, a, a brief introduction for myself. My name is, as I said, Faisal Bachari. I've done my education in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I did my high school there, and I did my undergraduate studies in University of Winnipeg, and another undergraduate studies in the bachelor and the diploma, and also a diploma in business information system. And I've done my graduate studies in the international business. Now, while I was studying, I was working also part time. I was working for United Way, helping the new immigrant to counseling them on settling to the new country. And usually for 2 years, I will be in charge of helping them in the different issues from simple stuff like how to take the bus up to the most complex stuff like how to apply for the income tax and do their education in this country. Once I was done with my graduate studies in the international business. I got a job in Abu Dhabi, UAE, where there we start working for. I start working for Abu Dhabi's gas, which is called Gas, a big sophisticated oil company supplying all UAE with gas and international also. And basically, I was in charge of product manager for a product software called HR SAP or Human Resource SAP. And we worked for that and as a project manager also. And it took over a year to finish the implementation. It was a very complex and sophisticated. We had teams coming in from Germany, from UK, from local. We all worked together to go live for HR SAP. After that, when the project was over, I just didn't want to come back to Canada. Stayed in Dubai, where I got a job offer. I started working for Edgemont University of Science and Technology as an HR manager. They had around 7 faculties, and I was in charge of their HR, and also I helped as a customer, not as a supplier this time, to implement Oracle HR system and Oracle financial system. During that time, took a few years. I was also teaching second year and fourth year commerce students in UAE. After a few years working in Dubai, then I decided to whether move back to Canada or where I was born, which is in Kuwait. And basically, I had a good offer in Kuwait where it's largest an IT integrated software integrated company in Middle East and North Africa with a 3,000 consultant. So I was looking after and starting and launching and development for a product called Banner, which is student information system. But Banner was made of a suite, which is including HR Banner, financial Banner, all these SIS system plus LMS and CMS. And also, I was looking after a very sophisticated in that time a product called IBM HR Access, which is basically HR solution, and then Oracle ERP suite. So I was doing some consultancy in the field of HR for mid to large size HR companies to how to implement the softwares according to their financial need and requirements. After a few years working with them, probably I worked with them for 15 years or 13 years. And after that, I started to have my own ventures and business, which is in the field of higher education solutions. And I worked with a company as a partner with me in Chennai, India. We implemented a few applications for education, and also for the Ministry of Migration in Iraq. We had our own application in the field of HR, also on higher education. So then eventually, time passed by, and I decided to move back to Canada. And first thing that I got is working for in Montreal as a as an IT consultant. It was basically companies, mid-sized to large-sized companies, is applying, thinking of buying or replacing or upgrading their softwares, and we come in a picture and help them to select the best fit software according to their requirement and processes. And then, because they were a French-speaking area, my family and I, we decided to move to Toronto area. So right now, I'm in Toronto. I teach graduate studies in business information system, and I teach undergraduate studies in human resource. Oh, by the way, while I was in Dubai, I also got my second graduate studies in marketing. So this is all my work, and without further ado, I will start with you guys to talk about the course in general, and then we're probably gonna try to finish one chapter every week, and well, we will know the details of it. So bear with me, just I wanted to share my screen with you, and here we go. Now, so the first thing first, let's. I'd like to welcome you for the course of the Introduction to Human Resource Management, and it is the course all about is Introduction to Study of a Human Resource concept dealing with the development and direction of people, including recruitment, selecting, testing, placement, induction, and training, and all these issues of the HR today. Now, the the course, as you see, will be delivering the course online for you, and then we take it. You will be responsible of looking at this course and then understanding. And if you have any question, you can email me or chat with me. Uh, the books is required is essential of a human managing a human resource, the fifth edition. There is also a backup book that if you cannot find or you don't find this interesting, you can utilize the backup book, which is I'm going to show it to you later on. So you have an option of between one of these books, and that one is I'm sure available on McGraw-Hill if you have it, or if you're interested in getting looking at the McGraw-Hill, and because it costs some money, I believe, to get into McGraw-Hill. Anyway, but the bottom line, I will have these courses available for you online, and also I will supply you with the notes and all necessary information so you can work it out, things like this. Now, as you know, the education in Canada is different than lots of countries, and they are very advanced when it comes to education. The goal is of education is the fact that we have a we are asked to and create environment where is a learning environment, is not a teaching environment. So the environment that you're gonna learn in it, and you're gonna be also be collaborating with the team, and you're also gonna be thinking of out of box thinking, creative thinking, and issues like that. So the whole idea is my goal is really to start you on the road to have some critical thinking, out of box thinking, group work, and develop your skill. And well, the goal is, as we say, the only constant thing in life is change. So today, whatever you're going to learn might be adjusted a little bit. So you need to, uh, um, you know, um, keep learning, and this is part of the today's rules. So hopefully you will be enjoying this course with me, and we will be talking and trying to meet all these requirements in this list. Please take a look at the list. I've already posted them for you. So the second thing that I wanted to look at it, and this is the most important, where you we do the assessment, and is the syllabus. So as we said, is a course called Human Resource Management, and it's an MGN 105, and for this fall. And my name is Faisal Bachari, and this is my email, so you can write to me anytime. So the book is, as we said, is Understanding a Human Resource Management, a Canadian Perspective. And the grading, as general grading is you get an A if you score 80 to 100, B 70 to 79, and C you get from 60 to 69, and D if you get 50 to 59, and F anything below than 50. Don't worry about this, because if you, my goal is really, if you can show me that you understand the material and you can come up with your creative, your perspective, and you participate in the course, then I will be I would be very happy to give you a very good mark in this issues, because this is the goal, is participation, attending. So but don't please make mistake between attending the classes and participation in the classes. Attending is something that you have to attend every time we do this class. Participation has a two different things. Participation in the course itself with me, and the second part is with the rest of the class. So the communication is an essential for them, and I will be really introducing step by step different application where you can collaborate and you can participate and you can really present your ideas and talk to your rest of the team, because it's important that you are getting into that atmosphere. Today, well, I've been doing this for like over 20 years, where I usually have some people who's been usually work with me in different countries for a different project. So I might have, the last one of the project that I worked on it while I was in Canada, we worked on something called um, um, OG Money, or One Global Money, and it's a mobile app where it's a one hub shop, just like you walking in a mall. You walk in one app, and you can do all your payment, your traffic light, anything, and also you can do buying tokens and making payments and transferring monies. All these things, the daily requirement, you can do it for one application. And it was very interesting and very sophisticated, because you had to meet so many requirements, so many restrictions to have such an application, because you needed to meet the financial, the security, the technical, the application, and the the touch and feel. And I had teams in India, in Kuwait, in Egypt, in Canada. and we were launching for a product for some Middle East countries. So it was a very sophisticated application, and we had an international team, and the international team needed me to utilize so much of collaboration tools, communication tools, and this is where I'm trying to get you on that level with me in this course. So the assessment is this is the main assessment. Ignore the previous assessment. This is how I'm going to assess your course. Is a 20% assignment, individual assignment. You will have a 20% worth of midterm test. Midterm test usually, I'm not going to do it. Multiple choices or right or wrong. It will be for example, 12 questions, select 10 questions, and you need to write. And the question will be kind of an open book exams in a way that you need to understand the material in order for you to answer these questions. And it's important for you. We have all kind of tools that we find out that somebody is copycatting. So you want to make sure that you don't do these stuff because this is kind of unacceptable. Now, the third part would be a group assignment and presentation. Later on, I will put you with the team and you will communicate with them, as we said, online, and then you set up your group team, your group, and then you start your assignment, which is worth of a 20%. And the final exam is a very similar, would be in a midterm exam. So you will have a 12 question, answer 10 of them, or seven, answer five of them, something like that in that field. It depends on the how large is the required for the answer. And then you have quizzes and participation, which is, as I said, participation is not attending. Attending is must, but participation is that you attending the class, communicating with your team, communicating with everybody's. So this is a very important thing for me. Now there is an application that I will be introducing to you step by step to utilize it, like Padlet and Kahoot, and each one has a certain reason to utilize it. Something like Yammer, when we can do communication and collaboration with each other. So this is the part where you need to really look at the assessment, how it's done, and we will try to make sure that we finish one chapter or one subject every week. So keep in mind, every week you will have one chapter covered, and this is the schedule of each week. There, you will have them posted on your website, on the Google Classroom, so you can look at them, download them, and study them for better understanding for your tests and for your assignments. Now, as I said, anytime you have a question, feel free to write to me. I will be glad to answer you. And without further ado, let's start probably talking about presenting the chapter one. But before I present the chapter one, I would like you to look at this short video to see how things is changing as an HR, and it's important for you to understand how things is in HR is working these days. This is about how Google, we had a very similar environment when we were working in international turnkey system. I would like you to show you this, so you probably will enjoy that. So, now, as we see, well, just give me a second. We notice that the fact that uh, this is this is like I apologize. There's some kind of clinches in my mobile on my laptop, but that's okay. So you notice that in this kind of an environment, it's you're probably thinking, okay, that's only Google does that. But amazing when I was working in the international turnkey system, for example, we did have all these. We had a sleeping room, we had a relaxing room, working out room, and we used to once a year get a flight to the headquarter and play ping pong tournament. And imagine everybody is flying from somewhere on the expense of the company just to play ping pong tournament. And that's when you meet the employees, talk about if there is a business happening or something like that. So there is such environment available in many companies, especially in North America and in Canada. And you probably, if you're lucky, you can land one of these jobs here also. I assume the other countries also they have the same environment, because while I'm traveling internationally, I've run to some companies who did that. Some of them had even movie theaters, like LG in South Korea had a movie theater, so you go there and watch movie and have your popcorns also. So these are can be available, and it's all about making the employee feel better. That will be he will be part of the organization, and then when you become part of the organization, you can produce more and more and more. So the whole concept is like that. Now, um, so Let me start, as we said, with the presentation. As you said, we there is two books that you can utilize one of these two. Feel free which one you're using is fine, but you will get these notes also from me. So the part one is the environment that we will be talking about. And in the chapter one, which is this is the book that you can find it on McGraw-Hill. I wanted to put it on the first so you can see it. But if you cannot find the first announced book that I made, then I'll go with this because it's also a Canadian edition. It's the chapter one is about a human resource in a globally competitive business environment. And question this chapter will help managers and HR employees to answer is how have global flow of information and knowledge changed the way we live and work? What people related business issue must managers be concerned about it? Which features, which characterize the competitive business environment in the foreseeable future, and how might we respond to them? What people related problems are likely to arise as a result of changes in the form of organizations? How can we avoid the problem? And what are the HR implementation of our firm business strategy? Today, by the way, when Toronto is a little bit hot, out of seasons around 25 or 23, so we didn't expect to be that hot. Anyway, so the activities involved in managing people, part one, is the first thing is when we say managing people means that basically we're talking about uh, uh, identifying staffing part of it, and this mean identifying work requirement within an organization. Once we identify the work requirement within an organization, determining the number of people and the skills makes necessary to do the work. The whole thing is, a company is made of people, and people are the one who runs the companies. Maybe other assets, but the most important asset is the people. And then accordingly, we do a recruiting, selecting, and promoting qualified candidate. In the retention part of it, we will be rewarding employees for performing their job effectively. Because if we're now rewarding these employees, we might be losing these employees. Ensuring the harmonious working related between the employees and managers, of friendliness there, and no, the harmony is there, and we maintaining this a safe and healthy work environment. And we will be talking about what's a healthy work environment and what's a safe environment, and it's like how it's perceived by the employees. The other activities that we managing people is involved in it is developing, preserving, and enhancing employees. So competence in their job by improving their knowledge, skills, ability, and other characteristics. So we're trying to enhance their competence, their trust in themselves, and by getting more knowledge, training them, giving them more skill abilities and other characteristics. And also adjustment, which is maintaining the compliance with the organization's human resource policies and business strategy. And this is very important, that usually the HR managers or the HR in charge of HR get some kind of a business strategy, because he is in charge of staffing people, getting people ready to deliver. And why do they need that? It's just, you look at it as something like, you know, when you're in a small boat and you're an individual, you can maneuver easily. But if you're in a big ship, so mid-sized to large-sized companies, there is made of different issues that they have to work together. So put it this way, like you need the gas, you need the people, you need the captain, you need all these people work together to move from point A to B and maneuver between, obstacles. So everybody should be aware of what's the business strategies and what's the human resource and how things is going to be. The other thing that you're looking at is like they are managing change, enhancing the ability of the organization, probably to anticipate and respond to development in its external and internal environment, enable employees at all levels to cope with the changes also. So in general, and if we look at it in probably in this shape, you see, managing people is there. It's two parts. Part is doing by HR department with collaboration and co-working and assistant of line manager, because the person who's in charge of you delivering, if you're working, is your line manager. So, in the part of the staffing, providing data for a job or competency analysis and minimizing the qualification, integrating strategy plans with the HR plans. Interviewing candidates. So the line manager usually interviewing candidates, integrating information collected, the HR department, making the final decision on entry level hires and promotion. The HR department in the field of staffing, as we said, is job or competency analysis. They do workforce planning, they do recruitment, they compliance with the civil rights law and regulation, application forms, written tests. It could be aptitude, IQ, mathematical test, whatever, performance tests. They will do a first initial interviews sometimes, the background investigation they will find out. So these are the responsibility, reference check and physical examinations. These are the responsibilities of HR. When it comes to retention, line managers in charge of fair treatment of its own employees, which should have a open communication, face-to-face resolution of conflict, promotion of teamwork, respect of the dignity of each individual, and pay increase based on the merit, not on liking somebody or disliking them. On the other hand, the HR department responsibility with the retention, right compensation, good compensation and benefit employee benefit, good employee relation, health and safety, employee services. These things is in charge the HR department also. So as you see, when it comes to the managing a human resource, is a job between the line management and the HR department. Furthermore, the development on the job training, and these are all introduction, which is we will be talking about each one of them in different chapters, and we dig deeper in this information. Development on the job training, job enhancement, coaching, applied motivational strategies, performance feedback, and support. And this is some kind of a work of responsibility of line manager, and the HR department responsibility is development of a legal sound performance management system, morale survey, technical training, management and organization development, career planning and counseling, and talent analytics. In the adjustment part, line manager is in charge of discipline, discharge, layoff, transfer, and HR manager or HR department investigations of employee complaints, outplacement services, retirement counseling. And in the field of managing changes, which is one of the things that these books emphasize a lot about it, is providing a vision of where the company or unit is going to the resource, making the vision is reality. Because employees really like to know what's the vision of company, what's planning to do in the future, and this is the job of line manager. And the HR provide the expertise to facilitate the overall process of managing change. So the HR will be in charge of the whole managing the change if it's happening there. So, human resource management or HRM, and we will be talking about, HRM or HRMS or HRIS. These are different terms used, and HRMS, which is a human resource management system or HR systems. So, human resource management or HRM is concerned with the choices that organization make from a wide variety of possible policies, practice, and structure for managing the employees in order these employees help the company to reach to their strategic goals. Dimension of HR system, it's basically skill enhancing practice like a comprehensive recruitment, rigorous selection, and extensive training, motivation enhancing practice like development, performance management, competitive compensation, incentive and reward, extensive benefit, promotion and career development. And then you got the opportunity enhancement practice, and it is like a flexible job design, work team, employee involvement, and information sharing. And we will be talking about all these concepts, and we will see how they can benefit the whole company in general. Now, this furthermore, the human capital, human resource management, which is a dimension of HR system, are indirectly related to financial outcome through human capital, measured use, establish the skills and educational level of the workforce, how educated, how well educated, how informal they are. Employee motivation, which is reflected by collective job satisfaction, organization commitment, organizational climate, perceived organization support, and organization citizen behavior. In the video you saw, it is they trying to do an employee motivation through organization, creating a positive organization climate and perceive the organizational support and feel that citizen behavior. Voluntary turnover and operational outcome is productivity, quality, service, innovation, and overall performance, production performance. Because there is a input and output, and usually companies are there to do business and to make profit, so they want the output would be higher than the input that they are doing. The last is important and practical impact on it is a survival and financial performance of firms. And we will talk about in the end of this chapter about the layoff and cut down of the hours and all these things. and why could be good and sometimes could mostly would be bad. Productivity and quality of the work life and the people in the firms. The feature of competitive business environment is currently the business environment is very competitive and because of many things, and that's where it puts pressure on the company to adjust their behavior and put a pressure on the HR to adjust their which part of the company will need to adjust their behavior. And the feature of the competitive business environment is one of them is a globalization. So we have an open border, have allowed a new idea and technology to flow in freely around the globe, accelerated productivity and allow companies to be more competitive. So a company could be in North Africa competing with a Canadian company in for the Canada market because this free flow of information and open border, virtual border has helped that so much. The implications for the HRM or human resource management is countries, companies, and workers are interconnected now. And it's provide a cheap labor and plentiful resources combined with the ease of travel and communication. Because it's easy travels and communication, I can work from here to for India, for example, and somebody from Africa can work from there for China. And the company owners usually seeking more competitive, more qualified people, plus cheaper resources to maximize their profit and maximize their productivities. So these are the features that of the competitive environment, part one. The technology, as we said, with even with the COVID-19 now, coronavirus has pushed the technology so quickly, they jump so high, which is good. It's not a bad thing, believe me, because now there is something is happening. We have students here and we have employees here who live in downtown of Toronto and probably in a basement or something and willing to pay $2,000 or $3,000 just to be close to their work physically. With this situation, now most of us start working virtually. So these people with this amount of rent, they can get a very beautiful house on a little bit outside on a nice lake and work 3 days there. These things I was practicing it a long time ago. One day, just a little story off the side. I just were working so much stress on me and working hard because we were in a situation of launching and expanding for a higher education. So and HR systems like IBM HR Access. So I just packed up my stuff, my bag, and traveled from Kuwait and went to a small island between Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. There's some small island, barely anything there except there is an internet and telephone lines and ATM machines. Nice food also. And I started working there. So after a few days, my boss called me and I answered him and he said, can we meet? I said, well, no, sorry, we cannot meet because I'm in this island. So he laughed and he goes, okay, so what's the situation with implementing the HR IBM access in UAE? We had an upgrade where I had to get hardwares from UK servers. I had to get the software upgrade from France, and both would come in UAE. And I had people coming from Egypt, within UAE, and within from India to work there. So he was asking me about the whole thing and how the things is going on. So I explained to him. End of the talking to him, he also laughed again and said, listen, stay there, enjoy your time. So these are the work flexibilities that you might be running because of this COVID-19 thing also. Yeah, and this is why I'm trying to make you work online, virtually, and in a group, so you will be ready for the real coming environment who's going to be exposed to it. So the technologies that are transforming the foundation of a global business and the organization to drive it include cloud and mobile computing, big data and machine learning, sensors and intelligent manufacturing. These are big, big words. Advanced robotic and drones. Wow. And clear energy technology. The most central use of the technologies in HRM is an organization, a human resource information system. And HRIS or HRMS, Human Resource System Management, or HRIS, in the next few lectures down the road, I probably will be presenting for you uh, maybe Oracle or IBM or SAP SAP, because it is like, there's two options of how to look at the whole human resource management. One, you can look at it as knowledge information directly, and the another part is these tier one companies came up with applications, functionalities, and processes that match the work. So you can see it from this part, or you can see it from that part very fine. The third part is the feature of competitive business environment is sustainabilities. And once again, we just follow the last part is sustainability is ability to meet the needs of present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their needs. And this is a big issue in the advanced countries, um, where you don't overconsume for your current, because the future they people will come and they need this thing. Affects an organization business model, structure, and a process. It's a challenges hiring and developing manager who can deal with the presence as well as future sustainability issues. Companies should tie executive compensation to sustainability goals and result. This is a very advanced issues, which is some companies are doing it. Embedding a sustainability strategy deeply into the organization culture. For example, I believe that Ford they have zero garbage, something like that. They recycle everything. They've reached to that position. Companies should engage in the value-based recruitment, help employees and manager link performance target to sustainability initiative, and link variable pay to those initiatives. This part is the shifting that is happening in the workforce, and this is probably in the USA or North America, mostly in USA's, and you see the the people are getting older and they can work longer, and is in the 2050 you will see that 24% of the employees of above 55, in the early 60s, when reach 55, he has an option to retire. So that even with the age is shifting, and the only thing that what probably Canada is doing a good job of it is importing the new generation from outside, because here as people are getting older and they soon going to be retired, so the government has to supply them with all their needs, like uh, medication, hospitalization, retirement house, and all these should be collected from the taxpayers. And if the number of workers is less, then the people who is getting older, and then will have a hard time to balance the government have a hard time to balance the financial statements that they have. Now, so the implication of demographic change and increasing cultural diversity for managers. The other part that we needed to talk about it is diversities and different ethnical background who are becomes more managers now. It's reduced the supply of worker, at least in some field, will make finding and keeping employees a top priorities. It is to find a qualified employees is very difficult, and some of people are very qualified, but they're not interested to go through that process, for example. So here where companies start really they coming forward to allocate good employees. And if you come to Toronto, to Canada, you will see lots of low entry level companies are now begging for employees, like cars like UPS deliveries and all these things. They're putting ads on their cars saying we are hiring. You go to any restaurant, like a coffee shop, like Tim Hortons, you will see a note saying we're hiring. um, so on the entry level is also difficult to allocate people. Forget about the sophisticated ones. So this is getting in that level. Task of managing culturally diverse workforce, of harnessing the motivation and the effort of wide variety of workers will present and continue challenge to management. You know, diverse workforce. I've worked with a lot of companies who they really had a diverse workforce from ethnic background, from religious background, from country background. In one company we were working, we had 23, um, 23 nationalities working in the same company in the same location. So diversities background is a very important challenge thing that HR should take a look at it. The trends that are accelerating the shift toward a new form of organization in the 21st century is creating and maintains of the optimal portfolio of resources inside as well outside the organization. So you need, as a company wants to keep all the skillful that you need inside as well as outside. The freelancing and all these third party companies and you also need to decline of the routine work coupled with the expansion of complex jobs that requires flexibility, creativity, and the ability to work well with the people. So there should be flexibility to creativities, how, in work. And you will see that a lot in consulting, marketing, sales happening long time ago and now is moving to other jobs. And the pay should tied less to a person position or tenors in an organization and more to the market value of his or her skills. So if you notice, one of the highest paid people is usually are people who is skilled, and if they are not well, they could be, sales, marketing, doctors, lawyers, skilled people are the ones who usually high paid, and also the upfront people also they are highly paid if they're successful. Change in paradigm of doing business from making a product to providing a service by part-time and temporary employees. And this is where really we were had a very good practice of it is because when we launched the first application for the government mobile application, we're talking about 15 more than 15 years ago. It was for the Kuwait government application, and it was a ministry of HR, so they are in charge of all the HR aspects and salaries and issues of the whole government employees and military. That ministry, they wanted a mobile application. So I had a team working with me from Chennai, India, from Ukraine, and from Russia, and all of us working on this project to go live. And me connecting with Apple and Android, getting this application online also. So we I couldn't give a full time to everybody, so we gave them a part time or temporary employee job according to their work. Outsourcing activities that are not core competencies. Lots of firms now they're saying, okay, lots of work, let's outsource it to others. And you notice that, for example, now doctors, lawyers, accountant to do a lots of they in Canada they focusing more on consulting and service and all other work like now the accountants doing the income tax. They are in India. They do that and they shift mail it to the chartered accounting firms here to do the rest of consulting job. Or even when the doctors, they have to write the report about every person. So they have team who doing that. So the core competencies is being shifted in companies and redefine the redefinition of work itself, constant learning, more higher order thinking and less 9 to 5 mentality. I think this class has the same approach to it. I'm going to put you on constant learning. You're not going to be taught, you will be learned. You will learn. You will have more higher order thinking, creative thinking, more research, and the mentality of, let me write this test and pass is probably would not be part of my test. You need to understand what's the material in order to write my test. Respond of firms to a new competitive reality using non-standard employees, restructuring, including downsizing, building flexible into work schedules and rules. These are three things that is is always been in the work for the last 10, 15 years, and it's getting bigger and more important. Non-standard employees include the free agent or a freelancer, or now they call them the e-lancer, who work for themselves, as we had people in Ukraine and people in Russia. They were the e-lancers for us, but I signed a contract with the people with the company in India in Chennai. They were contractors. So, and also the employees of organization a firm is allied with, employees of an outsourcing or temporary health firms, volunteers. These are the non-standard employees. Technology, creativity, and problem-solving skills makes non-standard works more feasible for organizational workers, because sometimes you don't need them always, so you call them, you pay them a little bit more to deliver the job, better jobs than you keep an employee sitting on the bench. The whole goal, don't let any employee sit on the bench waiting for the goal. Keep them busy working, productive. Now, the new organizational form is virtual organization. Now it's like right now we're working on establish the company online, and the whole goal of this company is providing an educational solution that reside 20 years ago in Spain and English from Canada to a Gulf region. And the company is located in Canada. So we have a partner in Kuwait, in Iraq, and the company is in Canada, working with another Canadian company who is represent a Spanish company to teach uh, uh, some languages. This is being developed, working on that. Multi-site multi-organization, and dynamic. So the virtual organization becomes very useful, and lots of them happening. And there is a lot of free zones that you can establish now companies without you need to go there or to be there. Now you have the virtual workplace. Employees operate remotely from each other and from managers. With this COVID thing, it became very obvious, very clear to the mind. We utilize and they facilitate the widespread availability of email, teleconferencing, collaborative softwares, and intranet. Um, Restructuring can assume different forms. The restructuring has different forms. Is one of them is downsizing, which is a planned elimination of few jobs or positions. Continues in a good time and bad time, regardless of whether the economy expanding or contracting. In the old days, when the you know uh, economy is going down, you would see people getting laid off, and economy goes up, people getting hired. Here, this is happens less obvious. It doesn't matter whether it's expanding or going down. You will see some kind of a layoff or canceling some position or putting two positions together or separating two positions from each other. So a company can restructure by selling or buying plants or lines of business, or by altering reporting relationship with other reports, partnership with other companies, or by laying off employees. Flexibility viewed by manager and employees an exception or employee accommodation rather than a new effective way of working to achieve the business result. People would think that flexibility is something given as extra for the employee, but as actually you give a flexibilities because you want the employee to produce more, but in a way you put it in your pocket and you give it later on whenever it's necessary. You're still going to go with the rules established, but if you see something that makes it more important, that you give the flexibility, is more important. When I started working, for example, for in technology evaluation center in Montreal, suddenly I had lots of uh, um, partners or probably customers, companies, clients in Middle East and in Africa. So the timing was not fit properly, one thing. And then you found out, the company found out that lots of them, they work on Sunday and they work on some of them on Saturday, and they have Friday off. Where we are in Canada, we have a Friday and Saturday off. So uh, my management, they came later on and they gave me the flexibility of working. It's actually for them it's better because then I can produce better, because Sunday they told me you can work on Sunday, but you can take off the Friday. You can not to be stop at work and start probably working again, um, the time I chose to work and the days I chose to work. And it was good for me because this is where I was able to communicate with the customers, and I don't have to work overtime to talk to the customer or stay, you know, because it's going to be affecting my long-term work if they don't show me flexibility. Keys to making a business case for increased flexibility is talent management, human capital outcome, and financial operation and business outcome. So these are the keys where you are planning, look at it, you wanted to looking at the outcome, the operational on the business, and then accordingly to give that flexibility to them. Implementation of flexibility is a different spectrum, as a big spectrum, as we said, and you can look at it case by case, and it's in a pocket. The standard is there, but you will do accordingly to the need of the people. You probably give the flexibility. Individual accommodations, as we said, special arrangement or a deal are granted on a case by case based on basis on and are often kept as a secret. Policies and programs in a place, policies and program exist, but flexibility is used only in a pocket across the organization. So you give flexibility to some of them, not all of them. Flexibility has many phases. Widespread use of formal and informal flexibility meets users and individual needs. New ways of working, result driven oriented, where flexibility work practice, utilize, and management strategy achieve business result. Ensure. Let me give you a very good example. When one of the companies, like an international turnkey system, I started working, on the third or fourth day, I went to my manager and I told him, tomorrow I cannot make it to work because I have things to do. He looked at me and he said, tell me something useful, please. In other words, what he meant that you are free to not to come, you are free to come anytime. There is no sign in, no sign out, no punch in, no punch out. I was happy with that, to know that. And but here's the catch. It is result driven culture. So they give you work and you have to deliver. They're not going to follow you, whether you are in or not. But I found out I come, for example, at 9, by 5 o'clock or at 4 o'clock, it's time to go home. I find out people just sitting, they're not going. And instead of leaving at 4, which is that's when the work done, I see people start leaving around 6ish. 6 o'clock, because people are kept working and they don't care about the timing because they have the freedom of not coming or coming late or working from home. So they found it is a place. It's a very good flexibilities there, which is just fine. Then you just coming from 8 to 4 or 9 to 5. If you don't produce, then they show you the door. Productivity is measured of output of goods and services relative to the input of labor, material, and equipment. And we will show you on the next slide what it meant. Improve of organization competitive position relatively to its rivals, result in a higher pay and improved purchase power workers. What it means that means there is input and there is output. And private businesses and businesses, they are looking at the labor capital equipment as an input. With a more productivity organization, you would see goods and services output should be much larger than the input. If your input is you have a less productive organization, then you will see the goods and service output is a smaller or equal with each other. And this is probably most of the time we see it with the government organizations. With the private, mostly we will see this where their output should be much larger than the input. And that's where the investors will be more interested in investing in these companies. So the productivity is very important. Now, the section where there's more perceived how they see is the what you call the quality of work life, or the QWL. It's a set of views as a set of objective organizational condition and practice, such as a promotion from within company, within the policy, democratic and friendly supervision, employees' involvement, good, safe working conditions, employees' perception that they are safe and relatively satisfied, they have a reasonable work life fit, and they are able to grow and develop as a human being. These are the things that you saw in the video, where they feel safe, happy, relative, related to each other, nice, safe working environment, and there is a future for them. And that's where they're trying to Googling thing. Involve it's involved giving worker the opportunity to make the decision about the design of their job and workspace places. And you saw weird looking people who's sitting on some kind of a balls or something and trying to work, or while they're walking or something like that. What they need to make product or to deliver service most effectively. I'll give you one example. I was in the beginning of my work. I was sharing in the old days. I was sharing an office with somebody, and he was looking at the window. So our supervisor came in, and he looks at me. I was looking at my computer and working there, and but that person was looking at the window. So the supervisor was a little bit sarcastic, said, "Okay, so what are you doing?" He looks at him, smiled, and he said, "I'm working." Said, "Through the window?" He said, "Yes, I'm thinking about this case, and this is the situation, and this is the analysis that I came up with it, and this is the solution that I think that's." So working doesn't mean that you have to be sitting in the office and papers and pen. That probably a different type of working. So it is the success required our willingness to share the power, extensive training for workers and managers, and continue experiment with the new ideas. So it's involved of what they need to make product or to deliver service most effectively. If this person needed the looking through the window to come up with a solution, let it be. If you wanted to go for a coffee or maybe taking a nap, then it can be more productive and do a better solution, let it be. So these are the things that every individual can determine how things that he need to deliver a successful services. Now there is a standard, but there is some extra or less needed for delivering the services successfully. And basically, the QWL is mostly perceived, and you could have all kind of things there, but it's not perceived, then would not be successful. Now, the HR competencies, we're talking about the qualities that HR department should have, the competencies that they have. They should have a human resource expertise, knowledge of the principle, practice, and function of effective human resource management. They should have a business acumen, ability to understand and apply information to contribute to the organization strategic plan. So they need to have information, experience, getting ability to gather this information in order to help the company. In the beginning of the class, we spoke about that they need to meet also the strategic plan and strategic plan goals. They should be able to critical evaluation ability to interpret information to make a business decision and do a recommendation. And we will be talking about each part separately. Consultations to provide a guidance to organizational stakeholders to help the management of each department to understand what they do and help them to guide them from a manpower. Leadership and navigation, ability to direct and contribute to initiatives and process within the organization, because there is some changes, so should be able to understand these changes and should be able to provide manpower resources or adjust the manpower resources to easy to match the future changes there. They should be providing ethical practice. So the ability to integrate core values integrities and accountability through all the organization and business practice. So if you don't have a company doesn't have any core values, any ethical issues, you will have lots of people just quitting that and moving to other companies. Communication should be very strong, very effective in exchanging communication with the stakeholders. And here, when we talk about stakeholders, is from the owner, the management, anybody who employees, anybody who is involved in the company. Relationship management, ability to manage interaction, to provide services and support to the organization, and a global and cultural effectiveness, which is ability to value and consider the perspective and background of all parties. As we said, we will be also talking. This is only a chapter of introduction for these issues. Now, the categorization of these competencies, there is a technical, business, leadership, and interpersonal. The technical HR expertise should be understanding people, organization, the workplace, the strategy. That's from a technical. And then the business wise, they should be business acumen, understand the business, what makes it sell, what makes it more productive, what makes it more competitive. They should have a critical evaluation and consultations. In a leadership, they should be a leaders and they practice the ethicals because they are should implement the ethical practice, and they should have a strong interpersonal, which is a communication, relationship management, and global and cultural effectiveness. So by this, we finished the chapter one, and I hope it was a little bit longer, more information there, but I hope you have enjoyed it. And as we said in the beginning, there would be step by step, I will be introducing more applications that you can utilize, the more group teams working, and if you start from the early stage, your base will be much stronger, and then you can be very easily passing my course. Okay, you have a nice day and enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next class. Bye bye.